Hey guys, JJ back. Going to chat this time about Cowboys Rams. I know I got another game left for you. The good part about this video is I can do props now. Props are out, at least the majority of them. So I can give you guys two prop bets I like along with the spread bet that I like. I actually really like this game. This is one of my favorite games of the weekend from a betting perspective. I just feel like we have some solid advantages here. So line opens 49.5 total. Rams -7, currently sitting at the same 49.5. You might see it at 50 at some points, maybe even 49. But seeing Rams -7.5 at more spots than I'm seeing 7. So with the recent line movement, obviously we're seeing a lot of movement on the Rams here. Want to give you some numbers here on both sides. So we'll start with the Cowboys. Cowboys, one loss since week 10. They're good for 8-1 or 9-1 over that stretch. One loss coming to the Colts, who have become the playoff darling for everyone. Now, I know that they lost that game 23-0, but, look, I chalked it up as an anomaly game for them. Colts are playing really well. Situation where, you could have caught Cowboys in a bad spot at the Colts. Was it an ugly loss? Of course. But, the Colts were hot. They still are. I don't look at that as honestly that bad. Anyway, you could look at the Cowboys and say, hey, look, this is really a team that you only want to really play on the road, right? I mean, their record was 7-1 at home. They just, whipped Seattle at home, 3-5 on the road. However, they are 3-1 in their last 4 road games. They started the season 0-4 on the road, 3-1 over their last 4, with again the one loss coming to the Colts. This is just a team who has been putting it together. Obviously, they're relying on Zeke. They're relying on Dak to make good decisions, call him a game manager. That's fine. Their rushing defense is arguably one of the best in the NFL. They just crippled Seattle's rushing attack, which was number 1 in the NFL, by the way. Seattle was running on first and second down all game, getting 1 or 2 yards, forcing Russell Wilson into long third downs, which is what I had discussed in the video that I gave you guys last week, that I felt like Russell Wilson would be caught in those situations where he's trying to figure out third and longs all game with really below average receivers, right? So really think Dallas has been playing really well recently, specifically. So let's chat a little bit about the Rams, right? Everybody's loving Sean McVay. Everybody consistently continues to talk about him. Basically, if you know him these days, you could practically get a coaching job. Cliff Kingsbury was just hired by the Cardinals. I guess for a few different reasons, ones that I can't understand. But he has some ties to Sean McVay as well. Again, it's just been crazy. Cliff Kingsbury couldn't even get his team bowl eligible in the Big 12, and yet here we are. He's coaching the Arizona Cardinals. But life's all about timing, folks. Cliff Kingsbury, perfect example of this. Okay, so let's talk a little further about the Rams. Rams are 19th in total defense. This is not a prototypical team defensively that you would want or that you would think could get to the Super Bowl. And 23rd against the run. You got to figure Cowboys are definitely licking their chops, and Zeke is licking his chops, looking at how much yards they've given up a game. Losers of 2 of their last 4, with their only wins coming against the Cardinals and the 49ers. Really don't even count those 2 teams as victories. Jared Goff, he's thrown for over 216 yards once over his last 5 games. Gurley's been banged up. Just hasn't really been running. Obviously C.J. Anderson stepped in and has been running the ball well, but it was against 2 shit teams. I don't really count that as all that much, or I don't hold all that much merit into that. Keep in mind, this is the Rams team last year who took a nosedive at home against the Atlanta Falcons. You got the young quarterback, the young running back, the young head coach. It just all seemingly came to a head last year. And with how this game is built, and you got to figure, I know Gurley might not be fully 100% healthy, but I'm sure he'll play through it. I got to figure they're going to struggle to gain big yards on first and second down. The big thing with the Rams is setting up those third and intermediate routes where they can just burn you all game. They can burn you all game with those third and shorts where they can hit you downfield for 15, 20 yards when you're not expecting it. Maybe you're in a cover 2. Maybe you're in a defense closer to the line of scrimmage to stop the third and shorts. And that's where they beat you all game. The issue I have here is I'm concerned consistently with the Rams' ability to pick up big gains on first and second down with Gurley, or maybe if they spell him for C.J. Anderson, just because Dallas has been so good up front, especially recently. I'm looking at this. The line recently moved to 7.5, so clearly people are betting the Rams. I gotta be honest, I love Dallas here, getting 7 plus the hook. I have two teams. Now, granted, look, I'm not telling you, Dallas is an easy team to trust. I mean, granted, I know they have their postseason woes. Jason Garrett's a blowhard. You know, Jerry Jones can suck a cock. That whole organization to me is a mess. They've always been a mess, going back to Romo days. But the thing is NFL's all about situations. The Cowboys, you could make the argument, are playing better football than the Rams are right now. And I'm getting 7 plus a hook. I'm getting 7.5 here. The Rams really purely rely on running the ball effectively, and Dallas stops the run. I mean, to me, this is almost too obvious to take the points here. Am I telling you Dallas is going to win straight up? Absolutely not. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Don't really know. But what I do know is that I know 7.5 is a lot of points for the Rams to lay here. With a team playing as confident as Dallas is. And let me be clear about something else. That little Hail Mary call, that little 40-yard dart Dak threw against the Giants, Week 17, in a quote-unquote meaningless game, I don't think that was meaningless at all. Throw like that can bring momentum to a team heading into the playoffs. I'll tell you what, that gave him a lot of confidence. And I think that he looked really good against Seattle. And Seattle's had a really good year. And I know Seattle hasn't been great on the road, but Dallas played really well and really closed that game late. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you look at this game from a few different lights, if Dallas gets a lead, once Dallas gets the lead, they are tough to come back from. They play great defense. They run the ball very well. They keep offenses off the field. So if you're trying to create different game flows and how this game could play out, if Dallas gets an early lead, it's going to be tough for the Rams to come back. And if the Rams get a lead, look, I'm not saying I'm confident in Dak's ability to get them back, but as long as they keep the game within a touchdown, I cash the ticket. And even if they keep it within 10, Dak late, they kick a field goal to make it 7. Just love the number. And ultimately, that's where I'm going. One of my favorite bets of the weekend as far as against the spread goes. Like I said before as the video started, I could do some props for you with these now since I see that they're released. So let's talk about them. So I said this last week, playoffs is a different animal when it comes to quarterbacks with dual threat rushing ability, right? Deshaun Watson easily went over his rushing prop. Looked like Andrew Luck went over his rushing prop. Not a whole lot of rushing quarterbacks left. However, Dak Prescott, who also, by the way, went over his rushing prop last week, is in a really good situation here. They closed the game last week with Dak's legs. Dak had a few big runs late, put the game away, and, I think sometimes people forget, they say, Dak's at times be inaccurate, a.k.a. sack Prescott. He was an absolute animal at Mississippi State running the football. He is not shy at all to run the ball. He has been trying to stay in the pocket and try to prove to everybody he can really throw the ball well. And he has improved, yes, but in games that mean a lot, he has no problem tucking the ball and running it. He is a big motherfucker. He's a big dude. He has no problem tucking the ball in between his arms and just putting his head down and picking up yards. So what you have here is you have the Rams that bring a good pass rush, right? One of the best in the NFL. Aaron Donald. I feel like they're going to get him outside the pocket. Now, it's going to be opportunities for Dak, once he's outside the pocket, to scramble and pick up a few yards here, a few yards there. There's also the alternative to this where if the Rams kind of load up the box against Zeke, that those RPOs and option plays, Dak's going to have at least 2 or 3 free runs for 7-8 yards when he decides to tuck it instead of handing it to Zeke. So I'm seeing this total right now at 16.5. Minus 118 for the over. Absolutely love this number. I think in any game scenario, this could very well go over, whether they're getting blown out, whether Dallas is getting blown out, whether Dallas is blowing out themselves, whether it's a close game. Regardless, these are the types of games where rushing quarterbacks like Dak tend to stretch for that extra first down, run when they normally wouldn't. You can't look at his numbers throughout the year and be like, sometimes he doesn't really run at all. Playoffs is a different animal. Rushing quarterbacks like him, or quarterbacks that can rush, love to get outside the pocket, moving, especially with the pass rush from the Rams. I expect to push him out of the pocket, and he'll have the ability to pick up chunks of yards. 16.5 ain't all that hard. He could do that with 3 carries. He could even do that with 1, technically. So love that number. Definitely going to bet that over. The other one-player prop that I want to give you guys. So I mentioned earlier in the video, Jared Goff had gone over 216 passing yards once in his last 5 games. Now, Cooper Kupp got hurt week 10 or week 11, and since he went down, Jared Goff's numbers have his passing yards have gone down. I don't believe it's a coincidence. He loved Cooper Kupp. He loved going to him in tight situations. Since Cooper Kupp went down, Jared Goff has gone, as I mentioned, over 216 yards, twice over his last 6. Now, he's gone it over once over his last 5, but twice over his last 6, he's gone over it. And once was against the Kansas City Chiefs in a game where Jared Goff threw for a career high in pass attempts. In what you could argue was a video game score. A lot of fun to watch that game. It was a Monday night game, but video game like the game flow played into the favor of him to pass the ball that much, especially with Kansas City scoring. And the other time he did it in the last 6 was against the Philadelphia Eagles, where the Rams went down big in the second half, and Jared Goff was just forced to keep throwing the ball. In that game, he threw for 49 pass attempts in Kansas City, career high for him. Then you go turn around a few weeks later in Philly, new career high for Jared Goff, 53 pass attempts. I look at that, and for him to get over, I just feel like this number is about 20 yards too high, maybe even 25 yards too high. Not to say that he can't go over this. Of course he could. He could catch Dallas with their pants down a few times down the field, and then pile up the numbers and find a way to squeak over 278. But I think when you're looking for props, you're always looking for the number and where you can find an advantage. Jared Goff is just not what he started the season doing, and this prop is extremely high in my opinion. Dallas is a good defense. Don't get me wrong; they're a much better rush defense than they are pass defense. But with no Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff, unless the Rams come out with a game plan of throw, and let's leave Gurley on the sidelines, or let's leave Gurley in the backfield, which I can't imagine, because Gurley's what ultimately got them here. Really love the number. Jared Goff 278.5 minus 115 under. And again, that's for the reasons I said. For me, it's a big spot for him. That prop's a little padded for me. Love that under. So just to recap, Dallas plus 7.5, one of my favorite spread bets of the weekend. I like Dak Prescott over 16.5 minus 118, and I like Jared Goff under 278 minus 115. Want to thank you guys for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to give you guys another video on the last game, Philly Saints. Also do a video with the props for the New England game and the Colts game, because I didn't have the props when I did the video. They weren't released yet. So yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Feel free to comment below on what side you like or don't like. And again, I'll talk to you guys soon.